The release of X-Men 97 is just around the corner, so let's celebrate it by making my favorite X-Man, Nightcrawler. For a long time now, I've wanted to build a D&D character who is entirely focused on teleporting. I've wanted to make a character who can essentially teleport an indefinite amount of times. So let's see if I can succeed. And as we go along, and if you think I have, please like this video. And if you love my Widow Goblin self, subscribe for more more this. Alright, let's go. Our little midnight demon grew up as a circus boy, so we're going to start by giving them the entertainer background, giving him proficiency in acrobatics and performance. Our father is a hellish mutant called Azariel, so we're going to be a tiefling, either picking the Asmodeus or the Glazia bloodline. Asmodeus gives us access to the darkness spell later, which is very cool, and this bloodline is far more devilish, if that's what you're going for, but its intelligence bonus is better for the alternative teleporting builds that I will reveal later in this video. Wait, hold up, we're stopping this, we're not going to do any of that, actually, because Jeffadov brought to my attention that the Shatter Kai exists. I completely forgot about them as I was looking through races for this character. We're going Shatter Kai, 100%, reflavor them to have a tail, give them midnight blue skin. The Shatter Kai gets Blessing of the Raven Queen. And as a bonus action, we can now magically teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space. You can see, and you can use this trait a number of times equal to proficiency bonus. You get them all back on a long rest. This is amazing. This is so good. We can teleport right from level 1, and that is sensational. I've got to retweak my script a little bit now, and I'll be right back. So after tweaking that race, we're now going to make our stats look something like this. Putting a +2 into charisma and putting a +1 into dexterity. Bring dexterity to 16, bring charisma to 17. We'll be bumping that up later to 18. So, with our first level, we're going to spec into monk. We're going to pick religion and stealth for our skills. We're a religious boy after all, and a sneaky one at that. Here you'll gain unarmored defense and learn martial arts. Level 2, we learn how to use ki, unarmored movement, so we're a little more faster around the battlefield. And we can take up a dedicated weapon. Let's choose a rapier. Level 3, we get deflect missiles for extra badassery. And the optional key fueled attacks feature. And we're going to choose our subclass now, Way of the Shadow. The teleporting part of this will come in later. But for now, we can spend key points to cast Darkness, Pass Without a Trace, or Silence. And we can also cast Minor Illusion for little poofs or whatever, or making our voice sound scary, whatever you like. We're going to primarily spend our key points casting Darkness later on, so we can teleport more, and I'll explain that when it comes up. But also, Pass Without a Trace is perfect for flavoring Nightcrawler's natural camouflaging abilities. At level 4, we get a feat, and so we're going to choose Fey Touched from Tasha's, and gain the spell Misty Step for obvious reasons. We can teleport an additional time now. This feat also gives us a +1 to charisma, so we're going to bump our charisma now to 18. And we can take up one additional spell here. And there are a few options. We could choose Silvery Barbs if we want to be very meta. And you can say that you teleport somewhere for a split second, distract someone, and give someone else an edge. Or, you know, you give some wonderfully witty comment, because humor is how Nightcrawler deals with most issues. Alternatively, Hunter's Mark, Bless, Bane, or even Tasha's Hideous Laughter is all great. The latter is also a great way to express yourself as a comedic relief character. We also get Slow Fall at level 3, which is very handy if you're still working that trapeze act. At level 5, we now have access to the ever-beloved extra attack. We can now zip around the battlefield, punching as many people as we like in just a matter of moments. Stunning Strike is hands down probably Monk's best feature. You could also flavor this ability as you teleporting a creature multiple times in rapid succession to completely discombobulate them. At level 6, we now have key empowered strikes to punch through sentinels, and we gain access to our primary source of teleportation in the Way of the Shadows feature, Shadow Step. So now, as long as we are in dim light or darkness, as a bonus action, we can teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space that's also in dim light or darkness. And very soon, we'll be able to teleport wherever we like with this feature. Level 7 will be our last level of monk because we cannot ignore the beautiful ability that is evasion. At level 8 now, we're going to multi-class into Warlock. However, there is an alternate route you can take, which I'll explain later. But for now, we're going to focus on the Warlock multi-class. And there are a few options here. We can go Pact of the Fiend, which makes sense for Nightcrawler. His dad is this devilish creature, and he does eventually make pacts with some other devils. Hexblade is also super cool, but for this build, I'm going to give some love to the Pact of the Archfey. Our mother is a mysterious, shape-shifting, fey-like being after all. This pact gives us access to some lovely teleportation spells and abilities, but starting off with our first level of Warlock, we do get a few spells and some cantrips. We're definitely going to pick Eldritch Blast, and we're going to reflavor it as us teleporting very briefly towards someone, giving him a smack, and teleporting back to where we were. We'll also pick up Mage Hand, if our DM lets us flavor it in a similar way, teleporting out of a jail cell to grab some keys from the wall, for example. We also know 2 spells alongside those given to us by our pact, and I'll list every spell in this build in the links below, so you can have a look through and see which ones I picked, and I'll just highlight the essential spells that pop up every now and then. So for example, Expeditious Retreat is a good spell here to pick. At level 9, moving on to our second level of Warlock, we gain access to something very important for this build, as we get some Eldritch Invocations, and we are 100% taking Devil Sight. So, do you remember that Shadow Step ability? Now we can ignore it outside of dark and gloomy areas. Simply cast darkness with your key points, centered on yourself, or have the edge of it just cover you. And now you can teleport anywhere within the radius of that darkness because you can see through it. When Nightcrawler teleports, it's said that he passes briefly through a hellish dimension, the Brimstone dimension. And this is why the area smells like sulfur and smoke after he teleports. I love the flavoring of him teleporting so much that smoke from the hells begins to pool up in an area, leaving everyone completely blind. You can now set down darkness over a crowd of enemies and start bamfing all over the place within the darkness, taking all of them out before they know what happens. Stunning strike them, flurry of blows, whatever you like. Alternatively, you can just put down a bunch of darkness and start casting Eldritch Blast into it and flavor it as though you're teleporting in and out of the darkness, smacking everyone inside. And by this level, we get 2 blasts at this stage, so you can make 2 Eldritch Blast attacks. There are so many brilliant ways to use this from a utility standpoint too, and I love this concept so much. Just make sure to get permission from your party beforehand so you don't go blinding everyone else inside the darkness. As for other Eldritch Invocations moving forwards, focus on ones that either ramp up your Eldritch Blast, or if you want to be more close and personal and use more monk abilities, I'd focus on increasing your Pact of the Blade abilities. Forgot to mention that. I think we're going down the Pact of the Blade route. But for level 2, we're just going to take Antagonizing Blast. On our third level of Warlock, we're going to take up Pact of the Blade, having it be a monk weapon that we can now magically teleport into our hand whenever we like. We can now sneak into a place seemingly unarmed, and then suddenly our blade appears out of nowhere. In terms of second level spells, we're going to focus on the likes of Misty Step, Spider Climb, Darkness, and Invisibility. At level 11, our fourth level of Warlock gives us an ASI, feat, or whatever you like. We're going to increase our charisma and dexterity as we move along, but also, potentially you could take the lucky feat and use it to make enemies miss you, saying that you teleport briefly out of the way when they attack. Our fifth level of Warlock at level 12 now gives us access to third level spells. Our Pact also gives us access to Blink, which is a beautiful spell for this character. We'll focus on spells like Thunderstep, Gaseous Form, and possibly some summoning spells, saying that we bamf creatures from other dimensions into this one, teleporting to the hells and back with our newfound friend. At level 13, we have 6 levels of Warlock now, and we get access to the main Pact feature, the main reason why we picked this subclass. We have an ability now called Misty Escape. We can now spend our reaction to teleport out of danger and turn invisible. So this allows us to enter combat with a little more aggression by always having this get out of jail free card up our sleeves. If things get really bad in there, we can just teleport away. And that's something I really love about this build, is you are really hard to hit because you're never staying in one place for very long. The rest of the leveling process of this whole build is pretty straightforward. We're going to take at least 13 levels of Warlock, capping out at level 20, so we eventually get access to the 7th level spell with the Mystic Arcanum feature, adding the teleport spell to our roster. Along the way, you'll also pick up Dimension Door upon reaching 7th level of Warlock, which will be your main form of long distance teleportation until then. As for some other fun spells that fit into the flavor of this class, we could take Banishment, Far Step, Teleportation Circle, and maybe even Summon Greater Demon. And as I promised earlier, there is an alternative to picking the Warlock. But before I reveal anything, and if you've enjoyed this video so far, please give me a little like and a subscribe. So, once you've done that, if you wanted to play a less charismatic Nightcrawler, because he is a bit socially awkward and he's got pretty low self-esteem, all that kind of stuff, you could rule him as being a very low charismatic character. I personally find him very endearing, very charming and witty. He's kind of like a Spider-Man-ish character in my own mind. But if you want to go down that less charismatic route, instead focus all those points into intelligence and make charisma a dump stat. Because instead we are going to take 13 levels in Wizard, becoming a Conjuration Wizard. And by 6th level we gain the ability Benign Transportation. You can teleport up to 30 feet as an action and also swap the positions of you and a willing creature. And you can reuse this ability anytime you cast a Conjuration spell. And by 13 level, you obviously have access to 7th level spells, and you'll pick Teleport. However, if you want to be real crazy and forgo the ability to teleport far away,
now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Take 6 levels in Monk, 6 levels in Warlock, and 6 levels in Wizard, and have fun trying to balance all those mental stats. But there you have it. You have the ultimate teleportation build. Unlimited teleportation in dim areas and a bunch of ways to teleport outside of that, both long distance and short distance, as well as being able to teleport to hell and back and bring an old devil or demon to fight by your side. Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Ugly Goblin, and if you enjoy what I do and want to support me, you can do so over on my Patreon. It means an awful lot, and it helps me slowly progress into making this a full-time job one day. And also, if you just want to talk about all things D&D, I've also got a Discord now, which will be linked below, alongside the character sheet and entire breakdown of this build, which is absolutely free for all of you. Grab it, have a read, let me know what you think, and enjoy being Nightcrawlers. Have fun. Goodbye. Damn, also at 3rd level you gain resistance to all damage when you teleport using this trait. Whoa, and you appear ghostly and translucent. What the hell? Shadow Kai, crazy cool.